Hey folks, welcome back. Today's a good day. It's a good day for another Throw It On Thursday. Today, I'm going to turn this pork butt into some delicious bratwurst. This is about a 9-pound bone-in pork butt. I'm only going to be using about 6.5 pounds of this, so let's cut this up into some nice small cubes that'll fit in our grinder. We're using pork butt for our bratwurst because it has pretty close to the right fat to lean ratio that we need. As one of my favorite YouTube cooks says, fat means flavor. Of course, I'm talking about Sam the cooking guy. I'll be able to get a lot closer to that bone with my dad's special boning knife. That's looking pretty good. I'm going to use this bone to make a little soup stock that we'll put into the sausage. Okay, we'll let this rest in the freezer for about an hour, I think, to make sure it gets nice and cold before we grind it. For our soup stock, I'm going to keep it nice and simple. I'm going to put some beer in it, actually. These are bratwurst, might as well have some beer. Here's a Fantasy Factory from Carbon 4 Brewing. Great Wisconsin brewery. I'll add that bone from the pork butt and a half chopped up onion. We'll put some of my dad's favorite seasoning, G. Washington. Finally, we'll top it off with some more water just to cover up that entire bone. Now we'll let this simmer for a few hours and then cool it off. The bratwurst recipe I'm making today came from a website called daringgourmet.com. It's a homemade German bratwurst that I've made before, and I think it's outstanding. Here's the seasonings. Let's put them all together. I'm making a 6.5 pound batch of bratwurst. I'll have the exact measurements in the description. Salt, white pepper, black pepper, ground mace, ground ginger, marjoram, mustard powder, cardamom, coriander, caraway seeds. Give it a good mix. We'll be adding this to the meat after it's been ground. This is the meat grinder I'm going to be using. It's not a professional grade grinder, but it does a pretty darn good job for the home cook. I actually saw this grinder on another YouTube channel, and I wasn't going to buy it at first because the quality of the grind that came out of this didn't look all that great. I don't think he maybe did enough research and discovered that you really need to make sure the meat's really cold and that some of the components you put in the freezer beforehand. Otherwise, your meat's going to come out sort of pink and slimy. All right, the meat has been in the freezer for a little over an hour now, so it's nice and cold. It's going to go really well through this grinder now. The recipe actually calls for this meat to be ground with a 1/4 inch die and then re-grind half of the meat to get it a finer grind. Well, I found out with this particular meat grinder, it doesn't do really well doing a second grind. So what I'm going to be doing is grinding it once with this coarser die and then use the fine die. If this was a Bass-o-matic, this thing would have this meat ground up into a fine paste in no time at all. But
catch a bass, remove the hook, and drop the bass. That's the whole bass into the Super Bass-o-matic 76. Now adjust the control dial so that that bass is blended just the way you like it.
Wow, that's terrific bass.
you know what? but we don't have a Bass-o-matic here, but we do have a pretty good home meat grinder. So let's grind up some pork butt. It's grinding up really nice because it's nice and cold. All right, that's about half of the 6.5 pounds of pork ground up nice and coarse. I'm going to switch the die and grind the rest of it nice and fine. Okay, it's all ground up. Let's add the seasonings now. To our ground up meat, we are going to add our German Bratwurst seasoning. We're also adding some milk powder. This is going to help bind the meat a little better and help it retain some of its moisture. So let's get in there and mix it all up. Now we'll add some of that soup stock to here to help get the meat so it binds really nice together. One of the keys to making some good sausage is to make sure that the meat is well mixed together so you got a lot of binding going on. So we're going to keep mixing this till this stuff gets very sticky. Okay, that's looking really good. Very, very sticky. I think we're ready to stuff some sausage casings. I'm going to be doing a little experiment for the first part of this sausage stuffing. I have some collagen casings I'm going to be using just to see how those work out on some bratwurst. Most of this I'm going to be casing in hog casings, but for the first little bit I'm going to use some collagen casings. I don't know if I'm liking this or not. Sure is easy to fill, but boy does it sound like plastic. I think that's all I'm going to do for now with these collagen casings. Okay, I'm going to tie off the end here. Yeah, these look more like bratwurst right now already. And that's the end of that casing. There we go. I'm going to make these into bun-sized lengths. I have a little marker on my tray here that's about bun size, so I'm going to use that as sort of a guide. Squeeze it a little bit and then twist. I think I stuffed these a little too tight. These are going to be some real meaty bratwurst. let's see what kind of luck we have with these collagen casings. From what I understand, it's not going to be an easy task. Yeah, they don't really like to twist, do they? Well, that was a good morning's worth of work. And you know what? It's lunchtime. Guess what I'm going to have? Okay, time for that age-old argument. Do you pre-boil the brats before grilling them? Or do you just put them on the grill? I'm usually team pre-boil, but today I'm just going to throw them right on the grill and see how they turn out. I'm going to try to cook these nice and slow. I don't want them getting burned. That's the natural casing one, and here's the little tiny collagen casing one. I just want to see how these differ. So I'm going to turn this heat way down and just let it cook. Well, it's looking pretty good. Let's put some of my favorite condiments on here. I got some spicy brown mustard. And some finely chopped onions. I have this on a nice Sheboygan brat bun. Fresh homemade bratwurst. I know exactly what's in it. Let's see how it tastes. Ooh. That is so tasty. And the texture of this is amazing. It's not overly spiced. A nice, mild, really good bratwurst taste. And this brat bun is pretty special. Sheboygan, it's about 45 minutes east of me here. They're the big bratwurst capital of the world. Johnsonville Foods isn't far from there. I think last week I did a video that showed the Johnsonville marketplace. Hope you enjoyed that. But making bratwurst fresh and at home, that's the way to go. If you can do it, you have to have the right equipment, of course, and know how to use it. Hey, let's try that collagen brat to see if I'll ever make that again. It looks good. Very small. It's almost like hot dog size. Even like breakfast sausage size. I think maybe I got the wrong diameter collagen casing. Well, I'm going to give it a bite. Same flavor. It being so small though, I think I overcooked this. It's a bit dried out. And the casing, I'm not digging it. Well, this bratwurst throw it on Thursday I think turned out pretty darn good. I learned a few things, and every time I make sausage I get a little better at some things, and I realize I have to learn a little bit more about a few other things. This sausage making at home is pretty fun. I'm going to be making a few other sausages coming up. I know I have some andouille sausage I want to make. I'm going to probably put that in some gumbo. And I'm also going to make some smoked Pola sausage. I actually bought a seasoning kit from PS Seasoning. I'm going to give that a try. As always, I had a really good day today. I hope whatever you're doing, you're having a good day. See you next time.